After President Donald Trump went on Aiden Ross's record-setting livestream, Ross gave Trump a Cybertruck with his iconic fight image to over 500,000 live viewers, which really highlights the contrast between Kamala's livestream on Joe Biden's nearly 1 million subscriber channel, only receiving an abysmal 500 live viewers. So then they reached out to Kai Cenat to try to recreate the magic Trump received on Ross's stream.
I got the f***ing Secret Service calling me 5 times! I don't know God about politics, man. I don't know nothing. I don't know. I haven't spoke to this girl in so long who gonna have the audacity to text me. We need you a part of the campaign. What the f is Cenat gonna talk about with politics, man? Let's be real.
Which just goes to show how desperate the Democrats are becoming, as I am absolutely certain that they could care less about Cenat until they saw how much Gen Z positively responded to hearing Trump speak without the filter of the corporate dinosaur media. So now she suddenly wants to go on Cenat's livestream before she's agreed to any press conferences, before she's agreed to any debates. Her priority is to piggyback off the success of some random streamer who's best known for playing video games. So I can understand why he's mad. He just wants to hold the Michael Jordan stance on politics, where he could entertain all the video game fans, but if he suddenly starts endorsing a political candidate for stacks of cash, he would immediately alienate at least half his audience, and since he's already rich, I imagine he doesn't need their money, but now they're nearly forcing him into addressing why or why not he doesn't want to have Kamala cackling in the background of his streams while he games. Because Kamala's campaign is desperate to spin how dislikable she is to everybody, but Gen Z specifically.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
As ABC states, she's embracing the memes, where there's suddenly this TikTok trend of teens dancing to a remix of Kamala's cackles.
Coconut, coconut. Coconut, coconut.
Which something about this just seems incredibly inorganic, especially when an influencer came forward stating they received an email about being compensated to support Harris on social media. So now these posts start to make sense.
Tim Walz? I like that Caucasian man. I like him. How do y'all feel? I like that Caucasian man.
She picked Tim Walz to be VP. We're gonna win, y'all. We're gonna win.
I hate how I can feel the propaganda of the Kamala campaign working on me. Because part of me is like, yes, queen, per Brat Summer Kamala Harris.
And even I talked about this over 6 months ago, where popular TikTokers were apparently being offered over $50,000 to say positive stuff about Joe Biden. Now, some people have their morals and some people are for sale. I'm not going to judge anybody for being poor and needing the money to survive, but I also think it's important to identify that a celebrity endorsing something is literally their job and how they feed their family, but a viewer parroting that nonsense for free is just idiocy. So when you see posts on Reddit with 44,000 upvotes saying that Kamala's VP pick Tim Walz just ended Trump's VP pick JD Vance, it literally looks like a stand-up bit for second graders that still believe their lies.
That is if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did there?
But that didn't stop the top replies from loving his energy, calling it the greatest political zinger ever, and more generic comments receiving thousands of upvotes. But as we've known, Reddit has been plagued by liberal bots astroturfing the site for years now. And it's really just part of their game of specifically targeting low-information voters. They can't campaign on Kamala's record when they're actively trying to scrub the internet of everything from her hard-left voting history to her status as a border czar. They can't campaign on Trump's actual record, as Americans would gladly return to 2018's economy, world peace, and mean tweets. So they have to dumb down Kamala's campaign to one word: vague. As they're constantly trying to paint Republicans as weird.
You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see.
And Kamala as brat.
Kamala is brat.
And calling Trump weird is basically all they have left, as when you see street interviews asking random liberals why they hate Trump, it's always very vague statements about how he's a racist, a bigot, or some other spooky word. But whenever they're asked to specify what exact moment did he do to make them believe this, They usually have nothing, or when they think about it long enough, they just parrot some debunked media talking point they heard on TV. So instead of campaigning on some hardline fact about why Trump is bad, they just give you the vague, weird statement. That's not a fact, it's a feeling, and it's easier to brainwash someone into feeling an emotion than forgetting the truth. And it's the same logic they're using to try to convince you Harris is a good candidate for president. There's really nothing they can reference in her entire career that won't backfire when seen up close. So they just give you the vague brat statement, or the even more off-putting woke statement.
We have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
And it's sad, as even in front of an audience of her supporters, her cackling is even off-putting to them, as there is literally zero substance as to what she's saying, where every Kamala Harris speech sounds like it was written by that iPhone autofill predictive text bot, and I can't be convinced otherwise. I know me and you hear Kamala's cackles and think there's no way she can fix America's economy, stop World War III, and avert a military draft. But sadly, there are people out there that see all this paid-for propaganda and think, yes, give me 4 more years of liberal leadership because Trump and JD Vance are weird. As when Vance went on the popular Full Send podcast, AOC just had to chime in stating, "Why are you sitting like that?" Possibly because the man in her life, for some reason, doesn't need to sit like that, as apparently she's the only person that needs this sitting position. So this whole thread of AOC trying to own the weird Republicans only backfired as it highlighted the actual bizarre nature of what's going on over there. But that's their whole campaign strategy. Low information, vague comments, just hoping you won't look more into it. As Kamala's VP pick thinks that this is something that he should campaign on.
In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
But it only reminds us, as governor, he set up a snitch hotline where residents can snitch on their neighbors during the lockdowns.
Please leave the following information: your name, your callback number, how the stay-at-home order is being violated, and where the stay-at-home order was violated.
And again, them bringing up so-called wins just reminds us of how badly they failed their citizens, which if anything, makes the average American less likely to support their campaign for president, which is probably why they're avoiding press conferences, debates, or anything that isn't paid for rap concerts. Because Americans remember how Walz's state burned to the ground, where entire cities were destroyed, and stores that had nothing to do with social injustice were looted out of business. And then his response was equally disgusting.
The civil unrest that ensued from that was probably some of the greatest that we've seen both in this nation and globally.
As he even ignored Minneapolis's mayor's request for help.
And the truth is that on Wednesday, around 6 p.m., I called the governor and asked for the National Guard.
Text messages and emails from the mayor's office for Wednesday, May 27th back that up.
Probably because his wife was just enjoying the smell of destruction.
Those first days, when there were riots, I could smell the burning tires. That was a very real thing. And I kept the windows open for as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touchstone of what was happening.
So while you were locked down in your home because Walz set up a North Korean-style surveillance state and had your local businesses destroyed so his wife could embrace the smell of it burning, just remember, he's now campaigning on respect your neighbor and mind your own business. And knowing all this and still supporting them sounds insane, but just know, Kamala's campaign has managed to hide in her own backyard for weeks now, and suddenly she's pulling ahead in the polls with nothing but propaganda from the news media, social media, and the low information voters that don't know any better. So share this video with someone that needs to see it, because with the corporate news media and the social media algorithms in the way, it's very unlikely they'll ever see the truth. And if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status of today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how the media's attack on Trump accidentally just proved him right.